Hello girls, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our grammar lessons this year. Let's start with Unit 1. Before we start, I want to ask you a question. What could you do 5 years ago but you can't do it now? I will give you some information about myself. I can swim. Actually, I'm a good swimmer. I could ride bicycles when I was young, but unfortunately I can't do it now. Do you know what happened to me yesterday? The door was locked, but I managed to open it after an hour. I told you that I can swim, but also I can play basketball. If I practice well, I will be able to win the match. Do you notice the verbs in black here? Can, could, manage to, will be able to? Let's check the difference between all these verbs. These verbs express ability. I have can and could. Can and could can never be followed by to. Managed. Manage can be followed by to. It should be followed by to. But never use verbs before them. You can never say I am can or I was could. This is totally wrong. Another verb, if you notice, which is able. It also expresses ability. Able is different from all these verbs. Do you know? It is followed by to, and at the same time, we use verb to be before it. What is verb to be? It's am, is or are, was or were, and will be. All these verbs should be followed by verbs in the infinitive. So what is the difference between them? Can is used for the present, and also it can be used for the future. Could for the past. Manage to for the past also, but it should be with difficulty. Did you notice the example when I told you I managed to open the door after an hour, so there was a difficulty in the situation. Now, able to actually is used for all tenses, present, past, and future. I have an exercise for you. Let's try to use some of these verbs in the correct places. Here, we have a short story. We need to complete this story using could, couldn't, or managed to. When I reached Scotland, I celebrated New Year's Eve with my aunt and uncle. It was the most fantastic event I've ever taken part in. Great! Couldn't wait to see and take part in the world-famous Hug and Wave festivities for myself. I could hear the sound of bagpipes as soon as I stepped onto the main street in Edinburgh. My aunt and uncle, managed to find a nice cafe for us to meet before the celebrations began at 10 p.m. I hid my excitement, couldn't hide my excitement at seeing the sky filled with fireworks at midnight. There were people waving flags everywhere, and we could see families singing traditional Scottish songs near the museum. I take photos. Managed to take photos of the fireworks before the festival ended. Let's move to another exercise. Actually, it is in your workbooks, exercise 5. We have here a conversation. Let's try to choose the correct verb. Can, could, manage to, and so on. We have here conversation. The first one says, how did you learn to ride a horse? I think. Great. I can't remember exactly because I can't remember now. it's in the present. But I know that I, great, could write when I was only 6 years old. Have you ever had a writing accident? Yes, 2 years ago. I broke my leg and I passed. Couldn't, very good. Couldn't write for 6 months. What happened? I was riding in the park. My horse ran into a tree. I fell off and the horse fell on top of me and trapped my leg. I could move it a little, but I couldn't get it free. So did you escape? I shouted as loudly as I could. Very good. And eventually I managed to attract someone's attention. They called the hospital and an ambulance came for me. With great difficulty, notice here he said, with great difficulty, they managed to move the horse and pull my leg free. It was then that I realized that I, couldn't walk. The paramedics had to carry me to the ambulance. I'm so glad you managed to get some help in the end. Is it easy with you? I hope so. We have something else to talk about. Look at this view. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it fantastic? It is peaceful. It is quiet. Okay, so notice the words I used here to describe this place. Actually, I used adjectives. So when I use adjectives, I use them to describe things. Okay? So, for example, I say, I am hungry. I'm hungry. So, hungry describes my state now. But if I want to increase the degree of being hungry, what should I do? I will say, I'm very hungry. Okay, but can I say, for example, I'm totally hungry? Actually, no. Why is that? Do you have an idea? Okay. Actually, we have two types of adjectives. We have strong adjectives and we have weak adjectives. We have also something called intensifiers like very. Okay, very increases the degree of the adjective. How? For example, you can say very big, very small, very clever, very bad, and so on. Okay, so it increases the degree. But can I use very certain? No. Very delicious? Actually, no, I can't. Why is that? As I told you, we have something called strong adjectives, and I have weak adjectives. Strong adjectives are enormous, huge, and giant. And the weak adjective is big. The adjective tiny is a strong one and small is a weak one. I have brilliant and clever, strong and weak. Awful, terrible, horrible, dreadful. They are strong and I have bad, and so on. We have also here delicious is strong and tasty is weak. Notice, I have some intensifiers here. They are used only for strong adjectives, Absolutely, completely, totally, exceptionally, particularly, and quite. We use them for strong adjectives only. Okay, absolutely tiny, absolutely terrified, absolutely impossible. What about the weak adjectives? We have very and extremely. They are used for weak adjectives. But if you notice here down, we have really. Really actually is used for both adjectives, strong and weak. You can say really delicious or really tasty. Both are correct. Let's try to practice, okay, to understand this rule more. Look here. I was so nervous about the exam that it was absolutely difficult or impossible. Remember, absolutely is used for what? Great, strong adjectives. So, impossible for me to sleep the night before. B, the children were very. Remember, very should be used for weak adjectives. So, great, frightened during the storm. C, she was absolutely, very good girls. Astonished, because absolutely is used for strong adjectives. So astonished is stronger than surprised. So she was absolutely astonished when she found out she'd failed her piano exam. D, Kuwait is a very, bravo, big city. E, the meal was absolutely very good. Perfect. Thank you very much. F, the players felt very, come on, after very we use very good girls, tired, after their 3-hour tennis match. G, Aisha was extremely, remember, extremely with weak adjectives, pleased when I gave her the gold watch she wanted. Thank you, girls, very much. Okay, let's move to something else. This is in your books. We have something called phrasal verbs. The phrasal verb is a verb plus a preposition. We have the phrasal verbs of go. Go can be used. We can say go out, go on, go off, go away, go up, and go without. What I want you to do is to try to think with me to guess the meaning of each one of these phrasal verbs. Here it says, the lights went out and everything was completely black. What do you think went out here means? Very good, girls. It is to become extinguished. That's right. 2, they went on for about 10 minutes. They did not stop. So went on here means, didn't stop. It means continued. Very good. When the fire bell went off, it went off. The students had to leave the classroom. So what does it mean? Very good, girls. To begin to sound. 4, she's going away for 2 weeks in this summer. She's not staying. So, go away. Very good. Leaving. 5, the price of bread had gone up again. To go up here, we are talking about the price of bread. So, it is going up. So, increased. I got up late, so unfortunately, I had to go without breakfast this morning. So, it means I missed the breakfast. So, go out means to miss or not have something. Let's revise the meaning of these verbs. We have go on. Do you remember? Yes. Go out, to be extinguished. Now we have go on, to continue. Great. Go off. Remember the bell, to begin to sound. Go away, to leave. Go up, to increase. Go without, to miss or not to have something. Very good, girls. Now, We have an exercise in your workbooks. We need to complete these sentences using one of the phrasal verbs in the box. Let's try to do it together. I'm giving you 10 seconds to think of the answer. Okay, let's start. A. You must sleep. So which one is suitable? Very good. Go to sleep. You look terrible. B. If the price of petrol, price, remember prices go with which verb? Very good. Goes up. I'll have to stop using my car. C. My alarm clock. Remember the bell. Which phrasal verb goes with bells? It also goes with alarms. So the alarm clock, very good. Goes off at 6 o'clock every morning. D. Last night, the storm for nearly 5 hours. So, yes, went on. Thank you. And finally stopped at dawn. E. We couldn't see a thing when the lights, which verb goes with lights? Excellent, went out. F. We had a very expensive holiday last year, so we, this summer, are not going. Okay? Actually, I was so happy to introduce this lesson for you. I hope that you understood every single thing I explained for you and it was beneficial.